What's up guys, King Crisis here. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, hype it down below and share some more ideas. I'm open to any and all suggestions. I'm open to you guys giving me tips. Or I'm open to pretty much it all. It doesn't matter what you guys are going to be telling me. I will listen to pretty much everything. With that being said, let's start the video. The story starts off with a 10-year-old Izuku, as he could be seen watching over a horrific storm, with all of his classmates being horrified. Everyone except for him. Izuku wasn't scared at all. He was never scared of storms. Growing up as a kid, storms was the one thing that Izuku just was never afraid of. It didn't matter if it was blizzards, it didn't matter if it was hurricanes, it didn't matter if it was tornadoes. No type of storm ever made Izuku afraid. He remained calm and vigilant as he watches forward with the storm raging onward. Eventually, the storm would be so horrible that they would actually have to move all the kids into the hallways, where every single student there would be all huddled up, with the teachers even huddling with them. This was no ordinary storm. It had to be caused. Why are they fucking yelling? It was no ordinary storm. It had to be a storm of magnitudes created by a quirk. And the teachers knew this information, but they did not tell the students, out of fear that it may cause them to panic. This led to the teachers kinda huddling together, huddling with the students and making sure that all the students around was safe. While all the kids, Izuku was the only one there who had enough common sense to realize that this had to be from a quirk. With the storm raging onward, suddenly a massive tornado tore apart a part of the school, which would lead to all the students running in fear. As everyone would run around, eventually they would all be brought into the auditorium, where again they would have to huddle up together once more. With the storm getting worse again, the auditorium begins to get struck. It begins to get struck with several powerful bolts of lightning, until eventually one will be so powerful it breaks through the ceiling and it almost hit Bakugo. If it wasn't for Izuku taking action, Izuku would quickly run and he tackles Bakugo, being smited down by the bolt of lightning. Everyone in the class seen this, and when the smoke clears, Izuku is unconscious. There you'll see floating in Izuku's mind will be a man who looks forward. Who knows? Maybe you will be perfect. Izuku looks forward as there the man will be seen. He smiles at Izuku. Izuku then would say, "Where am I? Who are you?" The man lifts up his hand. Before saying his name, "I am the Storm King, Typhen." Izuku hears that name and his eyes would widen. The villain whose quirk is to manipulate the clouds and create powerful storms. "Indeed, you're a smart kid," the villain would say. Izuku would say, "Wait, where am I?" Typhen would smile. "Right now, I'm fighting against the most powerful heroes on this planet, and I'm on my last leg. My point of my power now is to transfer it to someone personal, someone related to me by blood, or someone strong enough to handle my gift, my quirk." The man looks forward and sinisterly smiles. "Someone capable of inheriting my will." He lifts out his hand where he would say, "Only the strong should survive in this world. Those who grant my power should have no fear of anything related to nature." He smiles, and with a wave of his hand, Izuku would suddenly wake up in a hospital. He could be seen breathing heavily. He looks all around. There would be his mother, his father, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins. Everyone could be seen looking at Izuku. As the doctor would say, the only reason Izuku here survived was because of his quirk awakening. If his quirk wouldn't awaken, he would have died. The doctor looks forward with a smile. "Hey Izuku, your quirk awakened, kid?" As Deku hears that, he would be ecstatic, but the memories course throughout his head. That conversation, seeing the king of the storms himself, seeing Typhen incarnate, it had to have been him. He may only be 10 years old, but Izuku's no idiot. He's a smart enough kid, and he's an old enough kid to realize who that villain was. The king of storms, the man so powerful he was said to be on the levels of Endeavor. Horror was the only thing that filled his young mind. As he sat there and wondered, what in God's name could this possibly mean? The doctors, on the other hand, did not know, and Izuku didn't say a word. Later on that day, he would ask his mom what all they say his quirk could do. Inka would say that he inherited a lot from his dad's side. His quirk allowed him the ability to generate and manipulate clouds from what they heard. Thanks to his gift of his quirk, he's also immune to electricity. And apparently, his only weakness is severe enough winds. But according to the doctor, that weakness may one day become a strength. He'll be able to use the wind that flows throughout the air to fly. According to the doctor, he's able to create storm clouds of either normal magnitudes of storms or even frost clouds, allowing him to create ice vapor and manipulate it at his will. As he hears this, Izuku would look at his hands, and on his right hand would be an eye, the eye of the storm. That's all he could refer to it as, because, well, that's what it has to be, the eye of the storm. Something that put fear into his heart, because he knows that is not normal. It's not. Eventually he will make it home. And when he makes it home, he slowly begins to think some pretty different things. The first thought that goes through his head is why should he feel any sympathy for weaklings? He then begins to think with a quirk like his, he shouldn't have to worry about anything. He'll be able to do whatever the hell it is he wants, because who the hell is gonna stop him? He begins to hold his fist and he begins to smile. These thoughts begin to run rapid within his young mind, and they become the only thing that Izuku thinks about. His power, his might. Later on that night, a storm begins to rage, and as the storm rages, Izuku would look forward from his bed, and there he would see him, Typhen, as he could be seen staring at Izuku. Deku then would say, "If I inherit this power of yours, can I even be a hero, or am I destined to be a villain like you?" Typhen would laugh. "You could do whatever the hell it is you want. The only thing that matters is you must do one simple thing for me, and that is to take out the most powerful villain on this planet, all for one." Deku then would say, "Why? He got in my way for centuries." "Centuries," Izuku would say. "Well, a century. He has to go. And since you inherit my power, kill him. But remember this, inheriting my power means inheriting me. Aspects of my personality will come through, and eventually you and I will become one." Deku hears and he's like, "Well, so you'll take over my body?" "No, we will become one. Part of each other, in a way. I cannot explain it. It's only happened twice. What matters is, kid, you and I are going to become very, very close over this time." The next 4 years would pass, with Izuku changing very, very quickly. Throughout everyone's eyes, Izuku begins to change. He becomes a much toner kid, bulking up significantly. Not to the point where he could handle 100% one for all, or even 70%. But it's pretty clear that he's physically changing. He's bulking up. He's becoming a lot more serious. He's even becoming a lot meaner than what he once was. He was always a calm kid, but he was mean. He was mean as fuck. Now, he's just a complete and total asshole. 10 times worse than what he ever was. Bro was on straight up demon time. He made it clear that nobody fucking mattered when it came down to what the fuck he wanted to do. Izuku learned how to use his quirk, how to create cloud constructs, but of course these constructs weren't anything powerful. They were like little pillows that people could be caught, that people could be saved on. He learned how to create a storm cloud, which he uses in order to deal with powerful bolts of lightning. He deals these bolts of lightning, and he even uses these clouds to block any attack. These clouds are able to take lightning-based attack, heat-based attacks, and they're able to... The only attacks these clouds really can't protect them from will be earth and wind-based attacks, because wind-based attacks can just blow them out the way, and heat-based attack just kind of makes them, rain more. So, yeah. Pretty much, earth and wind attacks can break through, or attacks that deal enough power to just rip right through them can easily break through them. Izuku at this point learned how to create a little cloud that he can sit on that allows him to fly. Create a staff that's so strong that it is the only construct he can make so far that's actually powerful enough to rip through straight steel. And his storm cloud, his winter cloud, he used them together in junction for close quarters combat, with the storm cloud dealing a bit like a shock effect, which means when you're hit by it, you're shocked. And it's, well, winter cloud, you hit by it, you're slightly cold. Until like he deals a powerful enough attack, it can straight up freeze you solid. At this point, he's learned how to create mist, and he's able to completely manipulate that mist at his will. And even he's able to manipulate ice vapor, allowing him to create clouds of ice that he's able to manipulate inside of a person's body. So if they breathe it in, similar to what Domon can do, he can cut them apart from the inside. Not literally like cut them apart, but like it's enough. Like they feel like they're being cut. Okay. With that being said, he's gained many more abilities, but as the video goes on, you guys will see what I mean. So with that being said, we cut on over towards the teacher entering into the classroom. I will hand out these career aptitude tests, but I know you all want to be heroes. He throws the papers into the air, with everyone smiling and all looking forward, uncontrolled. Everyone begins to go rampant, with everyone smiling and being extremely happy. Izuku, on the other hand, was calm. He wasn't using his quirk. If anything, he was kind of annoyed seeing everyone around him use those pathetic quirks. He just looks forward. Ugh, disgusting. He would think to himself. He doesn't say it out loud. After all, he just does not want to hear the shit from everyone in his class saying, "What do you mean disgusting?" He didn't want to hear that shit. But he thought it. He looked at all of them. Such pathetic quirks they're using. They think that shit makes them look cool. It makes them look fucking pathetic. Disgraceful. Disgusting even. He makes sure that he watches this. Watches it with his own 2 eyes. From here, we do a fat time skip. There you would see Izuku walking off. And as he's walking off, Bakugo and his goons will run after him. "Hey, Deku! You want to come hang out?" Deku then turns towards him with an aggravated look. Bakugo will quickly put his hands out for his goons to stop. Never mind, Deku. We can wait. Deku then would continue to walk off. Or from here, he'll be attacked by the sludge villain as he would have in the original timeline. With the sludge villain coming out, he would say, "Oh, sorry, kid. I know that freak was in town. I'm gonna need your body real quick." Deku then would turn. "You despicable piece of filth. Who the hell are you to give a demand like that to me? My body? Get back, you filth." With the wave of his hand, he would create a massive storm cloud that bursts right towards the sludge villain and literally flies right through the sludge villain. As the cloud passes through him, it would violently electrocute the sludge villain. From here, Izuku will lift up his hand as he would create the same staff as he spins his staff rapidly, changing the density to match the sludge villain's density. He jumps forward and he bashes the sludge villain dead across the face with his staff, to the point where the density matched. It caused the sludge villain to feel physical pain, which is something that he never felt before. That is because he's matching the density of the sludge villain, allowing him to deal physical blows to it. Basically, the sludge villain is feeling everything because it feels like he's getting hit with something of his same magnitude and body. So Izuku's able to cause physical damage to him. He begins to hit the sludge villain over and over and over and over, moving too fast for the sludge villain to keep up with. Izuku has a natural enhanced strength and a natural enhanced speed. It isn't to the point where he's like insane, but it's enough, which leads to him dodging and evading everything. As this happens, Izuku will see out of the corner of his eye Typhen just laughing the entire time, telling Izuku that he's so weak in comparison to himself. Deku gets annoyed, where from here he would slide underneath the sludge villain and run up the wall as he would form an ice cloud. Instantly, he delivers a destructive punch to the sludge villain that freezes the sludge villain's eyes. The sludge villain would screech out in pain as Deku spins his staff and says, "Rah!" And he smashes the pipe right into the sludge villain's eye, bursting one of the sludge villain's eyes, and the other eye being significantly damaged. The sludge villain quickly drops and loses its form because it just lost one of its eyes, its only vital organs. The sludge villain begins to screech and well, he's shrunken down. Deku looks forward, smiling. Or from here, All Might would arrive. When All Might arrives, he looks at him. Deku slowly turns towards him and he has a nerd moment. But Typhen looks onward and he just looks at him like, ugh. fucking disgusting, Typhen would say. That is genuinely disgusting. All Might and Deku would have a nerdy moment, but Typhen would stare him down the entire time, with Deku completely acting like he does not see the gigantic tall man with storm clouds over his head staring daggers into his soul. All Might literally can't see Typhen. So Typhen just stares Deku down, but Deku has a huge smile on his face. Whereas from here, All Might would jump off. And like in the original timeline, well, unlike the original timeline, he would still drop the sludge villain due to the fact that he's in a rush. So from here, as Deku's walking home, he would hear explosions in the distance. He'd create a cloud and he would fly upwards, thinking it's Bakugo getting out of control or some shit. But as he flies high into the sky, there he would see it. Bakugo being captured by the sludge villain. Deku then says, "That goddamn nuisance of a creature." He says this in an aggravated tone, whereas from here, he would quickly fly on over towards the area. As he does so, his entire body will compose of clouds. He walks right through the sludge villain, grabbing Bakugo and walking straight out of the sludge villain, holding him. As this happens, the sludge villain turns around and says, "You!" as he goes in for an attack at Deku. Deku will quickly create a cloud as he jumps on it. He then will jump on another cloud and another cloud. Whereas from there, Deku could be seen standing on the air itself. He lets off a smile. As the sludge villain rushes at him, Deku would phase right through him before turning around and creating a massive storm cloud. He then slams his hand through it as lightning is generated and booms the sludge villain back with a bolt of lightning. The sludge villain, of course, is still standing because he cannot create like crazy powerful lightning. He can only create lightning on the scale of his clouds, which means that if he creates like a full-scale storm cloud, it would only be equivalent to a natural bolt of lightning. The smaller the clouds, the weaker the lightning. As Deku does this, he continues to spam bolts of lightning before sweeping up the sludge villain's leg by creating clouds of the same density, which causes the sludge villain to be stuck in the clouds. As he tries pulling himself forward, Izuku then will create clouds that holds onto its body. Izuku then lifts up his hand and unleashes a powerful punch formed from, well, frost clouds. He began to spam like ice clouds over and over and over and over until the sludge villain begins to freeze solid. It takes him around 17 attacks for the sludge villain to freeze solid. And as this happens, All Might bulks up and says, "I am here!" as he grabs the literal frozen sludge villain and brushes off, literally rushing him to the police office. There, Bakugo would smile at Deku, telling him thank you. Deku would tell him that it's no problem, and that next time, don't get captured by something like that. Clearly, you're not capable of fighting something like that. At least not yet. Whereas from here, he would walk off, and Bakugo would just kind of put his head down. I mean, Deku's right, as much as he hates it because he's such an asshole about things. It was right, and there was pretty much no arguing he can do about it. He shouldn't have got caught. He shouldn't have bothered the damn thing in a bottle. From here, we cut on over towards Izuku walking off. And from here, All Might would meet him. Now, All Might would still give Deku the same speech he would have in the original timeline. And he doesn't. Deku's thinking about saying no. But Typhen would look at him and say, "If you say no, you're the biggest fool I've ever met in my entire fucking life. Accept that power, you damn fool." Deku looks towards him and says out in his mind, "And if I don't accept shit, the fuck are you gonna do about it?" Typhen then would say, "You goddamn ignorant bastard!" They begin to argue, whereas from here, Izuku would go ahead on and accept One For All. As he accepts it, he will begin his 10 months of training. And I can see after the 10 months of training being finished, Deku being able to casually handle 15% of One For All naturally. Now, with him inheriting the power of One For All, Typhen would literally transform into, well, a vestige. With Typhen becoming a vestige of One For All, he quickly hides himself from them, creating a stormy area within Deku's mind where only Typhen existed. He hid there. He hid there from all the other vestiges, and the other vestiges would just assume it's a part of his quirk. They assume that it's just that raging storm is the power dormant within Deku. In all actuality, it was a realm where Typhen hid himself. He did not want to reveal himself to One For All. Within the other half of Izuku's mind, there is where Typhen existed. From here, it took Izuku 5 months to get One For All. With him getting it in 5 months, he has the next 5 months to focus on using One For All, which he learned took a lot of effort. Okay, but he mostly focused on his clouds, trying to get his clouds to a strong enough degree. But due to him having, well, a cloud-based quirk and a quirk that allows him to create mist and vapor of that nature, he accidentally unlocked the smoke stream, which he learned allowed him to create a powerful cloud of smoke. And now this is where the smoke stream becomes overpowered. Because since he has a powerful cloud quirk, by nature, Izuku has the ability to completely control the stream of smoke, allowing him to use smoke stream to essentially cloak himself, allows him to see through the smoke, and even allows him to manipulate creating smoke bombs or creating smoke-like constructs, or just sending the smoke into a person's body, which will cause them to suffocate. He even learns that he can now he can infuse his smoke stream with his ice vapor, combining them and creating a powerful icy smoke cloud, which in there, battling against him is damn nearly impossible. But of course, it's damn nearly impossible for anything that has to breathe. Things that do not need to breathe, such as technology, most likely will be able to fight against this. From here, we cut on over towards the 5 months of training, well, the other 5 being over. There, Izuku will look forward towards All Might. He has a smile on his face and would ask him, do he think he'll be able to, pass? All Might looks at him and smiles, and he tells him most definitely. He's able to use up to 15% of One For All. He's extremely fast, and he even learned how to create powerful clouds of ice, so powerful that even All Might himself kind of struggles to fight Izuku in there because, well, for one, he can't see Izuku, and the ice and smoke is tearing his lungs apart. Deku smiles hearing this, whereas from here, we time skip on over towards Deku making it to UA. Him and Bakugo would basically encounter one another, whereas from here, Bakugo will tell him good luck. Deku will tell him that he doesn't need luck. If anyone should be hearing good luck, it's him. He turns and smiles towards Bakugo, where from there they will walk inside. Deku doesn't trip in his timeline, but instead Ochako is the one to trip, and Deku would catch her. As he catches her, he has a bit of a smile on his face. Whereas from here, we cut on over to, hey, if you guys hear talking in my background, I'm sorry. I think I already said a little moment in the beginning, but hey, I live with family, and I'm like, YouTube right now is like my priority. So like, I'll have a job by the time of next week, and I'll work around with some things. But for now, I live with family, so I cannot control them, as that's pretty obvious. So it's also why uploads are a bit slow, because this mic I'm currently using, it catches too much, and I can only record when it's like significantly quieter than usual. Okay, but until I'm able to get a mic that's good enough to not catch every noise in the background, I'm not gonna be able to really focus as much on the stuff. But with that being said, Izuku will take the test like he would in the original timeline, and this will still lead to Ida loud capping to President Mike. He doesn't say anything to Izuku, but Izuku is the one to speak to him. He then tells him, hey, shut the hell up. Ida hears it and he looks forward towards him. Hey, I don't want to hear it, bro. President Mike worked here for years. The zero pointer has always been a thing within UA. Have you even been on TikTok, dumbass? Just ignore it. Let the man finish speaking and he'll explain it. Shut the fuck up. As he says this, Ida then says, do you know who you're talking to? Deku says, do you think I care? Shut up, man. And from here, Ida would shut his mouth. He would just completely shut his mouth. Whereas from here, you would watch the exams begin. The gates would open and Deku would activate One For All at 10%, jumping on his cloud, and he bursts off with a zink of speed. He zooms forward towards the first cloud he sees, summoning his staff. He spins, fuels the staff with One For All, and mix right through the one pointer, ripping it clean apart. From here, he zooms forward towards another one, slamming the staff right through it, breaking it down the middle. From here, he would go after robot using his cloud staff, and he would break them apart, ripping off the arms, tearing it apart, just constantly breaking through them. Using the cloud, surfing around, fighting exactly how Shirakumo fought, Aizawa, President Mike, and Midnight will watch onward, astonished at this kid. The speed he's moving at, the way he's fighting exactly how Shirakumo fights. But this kid, he's clearly stronger, and he has a cloud that's generating literal rainbow lightning. As they watch onward, they watch Izuku absolutely freaking solo. Every single robot that came near him, he fuels that staff with One For All and he bashes it apart. Izuku even starts sending out smaller clouds to start saving other kids. The clouds would catch rubble and throw them all to the side, or they would catch students that would be falling. The clouds would be used all around, and these clouds were even used towards kids who needed support on like other parts of their bodies. The clouds would literally wrap around that part of their body and it would hold them up, allowing these kids who couldn't do much at first to continue going onward within the exams using the clouds from Izuku, which they do not know where these clouds are even coming from, but using these clouds from Izuku, they would be able to continue fighting thanks to the support the clouds is giving to the injured parts of their body. This leads to everyone seeing this, teachers and even other students who finally realize where these are coming from, where all of a sudden the zero pointer would break out. With the zero pointer breaking free, suddenly everyone begins to run, where from there Typhen would speak. Izuku, you're powerful enough to destroy that thing. Break it to pieces. I want to see you obliterate it. Deku hears this and he then would calmly say that maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he wants to give someone else an opportunity to shine. Typhen then would say, all of these kids here are running away like bitches. You, on the other hand, you can destroy it. Deku then would say, but I'll need the help of One For All. Typhen then would say, because you're a fool and you're weak. Using my power, you wouldn't even need One For All. The only reason you need One For All is because you're reliant on it. Learn how to use my power first. It was a power you gained first after all. As from here, Typhen would vanish, and Deku looks forward towards the zero pointer. He cracks his neck, and he remembers what Typhen said, but he says no. He'll use the quirks that he has, how he wanna fucking use it. Whereas from here, he jumps on the cloud and he zooms off. Quickly, he lifts up his hand and he would form a massive storm cloud with clouds just shooting out of his hands, making the cloud bigger and bigger and bigger. He would close his eyes and he channels One For All through it. He then would say, One For All, 15%. Critical lightning! He slams his hand down with a chaotic boost. Massive burst of lightning, so powerful. It smites the zero pointer, completely eviscerating it. All the teachers look forward shocked. Whereas from here, Izuku would fly down with his cloud. Actually, he would aura farm. This man will create steps out of clouds. Over the background with the sun behind him, this man would use clouds to create the illusion of a goddamn rainbow. And this man casually walks down those steps, aura farming the entire time. And then he goes towards the injured Ochako, puts out his hand, using his cloud to wrap around her leg, and the cloud lifts her onto her feet. Whereas from here, she would be lifted up by Izuku's cloud, and well, he would walk her on over towards, well, Recovery Girl. She looks forward shocked, as she would thank Izuku, just calling him absolutely awesome for that. And everyone watched as this kid casually walked off. As Izuku walked off, President Mike would say that the exams are now over. From here, Typhen looks towards him. What did I tell you? I said that you didn't need to use One For All. You could have used my own power and you could have destroyed that thing. Deku then says, be real with yourself. I don't even know how to use your power fully yet. So no, I did not use it. Get the shit through your head, you goddamn nerd. No, it says you goddamn bastard. I have not mastered your power yet. Yes, because you're fucking weak. You're a fool. You're stupid. It's the easiest power to master. And yet, Deku is just easy? How many years did it take you to master it? 50. Exactly. I'll just wait until we're fully synchronized. Whatever in God's name happened then I'll fucking see. Goddamn idiot. From here, Typhen will shake his head in annoyance as he fades back into his dark realm. You may be wondering, how come none of the other vestiges of One For All can see Typhen? He's easily able to hide himself within the illusion of clouds. Now, I forgot to mention this. Typhen is very broken, okay? This man can use clouds to do all types of shit. And including use clouds to cast illusions, which Izuku will eventually gain the ability to do so. But for now, Typhen he's broken as fuck. I just want y'all to know that man is going to be an absolute unit. And you may be wondering, what the fuck you mean? You'll see. Anyways, we time skip on over towards Izuku, making it into UA on the very first day. He enters, and the first thing he sees is Bakugo and Ida arguing. Bakugo sees him, he quickly smiles and instantly drops the argument and goes on over and daps Izuku up. Izuku will dap Bakugo up before Bakugo goes right back to his seat, puts his legs back up, and continues the argument like he did not just pause mid-argument. Ida and him would go at it, arguing the entire time. As Ochako and a few other kids enter the classroom, everyone there would thank Izuku because, well, he literally helped them out. Like, Izuku was awesome, bro. Izuku's there, awesome. Deku just smiles. And, well, the two of them would have a bit of like a dap up bro moment, but from here, not much else really changed. So now we time skip, and now we time skip again. Stop! Anyways, time skip. Deku makes it outside. Well, Izuku was telling him that he got first place in the UA entrance exam. Deku holds the ball in his hand and he, well, looks upwards. What do you want me to do? Get the ball as far away as you possibly can using your quirk. As Deku hears this, Typhen then would say, make a big boom. Deku then would think to himself, shut the hell up. Typhen will remain silent. As Deku proceeds to hold the ball in his hand, cloud begins to wrap all around him. He begins to spin his hand quickly, charging one for all to 15%. He throws the ball with a massive burst of wind being released from it. With a cloud wrapped around the ball is soaring through the air. The ball gets to around a good... Bakugo had like 700 or 900 something. One of the two. I'm going to give Deku 3,000 meters. He gets around 3,000 meters, with the entire class being absolutely appalled at the speed and power which the ball was thrown. From here, every other test Izuku would do, and he would absolutely excel in them, crushing every machine and just bro, he breaks every record. Well, he doesn't break them, but he passes basically first place in everything but the ball throw. As this happens, everyone would be pretty surprised, and well, Deku would just kind of scratch the back of his head before saying that, yeah, he's done. Now from here, they will go off into the cafeteria. Like normal, the alarms will go off, and this leads to everyone around running and screaming in fear. Izuku's head begins to hurt, as he only looks and sees a bunch of fucking pussies. Everyone running and screaming for their lives, and half of these guys been here for years. Half of these guys shouldn't even be slightly afraid. These guys should be confident. These guys should know that they have the power to take down whatever villains out there. There's fucking second and third years here, and they're running like bitches. He sees this, and he's just disgusted. Ida would still do the same thing he did in the original timeline, but as he gets done talking, Deku then would say, all of you little bitches should be ashamed of yourselves. You guys have been here for years longer than I have, and I'm over here seeing goddamn grown adults crying like little bitches. He shakes his head in absolute disgust, explaining that that's fucking pathetic. That's the most disgusting and worthless shit he's ever seen. He tells them that if anyone here should be afraid, it should be the first years. It's their first time experiencing something like this, but you guys? You guys shouldn't have any fear at all. Now that's just fucking pathetic. As he says this will lead to all the first years becoming, this will lead to all the second and third years to become extremely embarrassed. He just absolutely embarrassed all of them, with a few of them kind of balling up their fists thinking about like attacking him. But Izuku doesn't care. From here, we cut on over towards him walking home. Ochako, Ida, and Bakugo would all catch up with him. Or they would have like simple conversations. Or Ochako would ask him some things like, what does he believe in? And Deku then would say that he believes in a lot of things. But he also believes that those who have quirks strong enough to make them be able to help others should use their quirks to help others. Those of them who has quirks to make them want to change the world, why not use it to change the world? But those who have quirks powerful enough to change the world, but they still choose to be fools with their quirks, he shakes his head. They make me fucking sick. Deku would say, people should use their quirks to do better. They should use their quirks to do better for the world, and most people still use their quirks to do stupid things. He would say as he side-eyes Typhen within his mind. Typhen just laughs, knowing that slowly but surely, Izuku's gonna lose that train of thought. Deku walks off. He eventually makes it home. When he makes it home, Inko would ask him how his day went, and he would tell her everything went fine. Amazing day of school, he got to use his quirk, and well, he's a bit disappointed in the third years. The alarms went off and they all ran like little bitches, scared for their lives. It was disgusting. The next few days would go by, and eventually all men would hear this classic, "I'm walking through the door like a normal person." Everyone begins to cheer, with All Might entering into the classroom with this classic aura forming moment. Everyone will be so excited except for Izuku. I mean, he's already close with All Might, and plus he's not gonna glaze the man. That's like actually pathetic. The way everyone glazes All Might and just dick eats, he hates seeing it. He doesn't do it. All Might knew Izuku wasn't gonna do it, so he doesn't even bother like worrying about it. As all the other students become ecstatic and waiting on All Might to give them their lessons, he will give them out their hero suits, where of course the teams will be made. Now, this team is going to be Deku and Kaminari versus Bakugo and Tsukiyomi. Deku sees the team he's going up against, and he knows for a fact not to underestimate Bakugo. He doesn't know how Tsukiyomi's quirk quite works. So, when they get inside of the building, the first thing Deku does is activates his quirk, and instantly he creates a gigantic storm cloud above the building. Now, we're going to be making Deku and Kaminari the villains, okay? So they get a head start. He creates a giant cloud, where from here, on every single floor, he would create a fog that enters every single floor, and it begins to just surround the building. As Bakugo and Tsukiyomi entered, the fog would rage across the entire building. With Bakugo being very like hard to see, Tsukiyomi would fall to the ground as he begins to hold his head in pain. Bakugo looks towards him confused before saying, "Are you okay?" Tsukiyomi says, "Dark shadow gets stronger in darkness. It's dark outside. It's dark in here." He begins to hold his head in pain, but Deku, who's upstairs, isn't aware as to what's happening. As Dark Shadow begins to grow more and more powerful, he doesn't grow to the scale that he would have at the Forest Training Camp arc, but he still does grow very big. Again, if y'all hear talking, I'm sorry. Matter of fact, no, I'm not gonna stop it. I have to finish this. I gotta finish this. Oh my god, I need my own house. Anyways, Deku holds, the bomb. He coats the bomb in a gigantic layer of clouds like a bed. Kaminari looks towards him before saying, "Do you think we could come up with like combo moves?" Deku looks at him confused. "What do you mean?" "Well, you can create clouds. I can create lightning. You think I could like..." Deku looks at him and smirks, hearing what he's thinking, as he then begins to create several storm clouds. And he tests his theory, as he makes Kaminari shoot lightning in them. And well, Deku's clouds is actually able to hold Kaminari's lightning, and Deku sinisterly smiles as he holds out his hands, and the clouds begin to compress down into small orbs of cloud. Whereas from here, on his wrist will be his support item, a literal thing where he would hold and contain clouds that he would then use to release them. As he does this, he would wonder if Todoroki, the Ice Kid, will be able to do the same thing with his ice. He would use Kaminari's little like lightning, and he would put like 6 lightning clouds was in here. This would hold them down. Okay, this right here is similar to Bakugo's gauntlet. It allows Deku to hold up a lot of power for his clouds and release them out. It created a powerful storm cloud on the scale of Bakugo's massive gauntlet explosion. But due to what Kaminari just did, Deku changed it and used it within this way. He's going to use this to shoot these clouds out at random moments, and they would burst with more lightning than what his normal small clouds are capable of doing, and it would throw Bakugo off of his game. Whereas from here, Deku will go downstairs, prepared to fight Bakugo. But when he gets downstairs, he sees a pretty bulked up Dark Shadow, as he can see through his clouds while Dark Shadow and Bakugo cannot. Deku tilts his head in confusion like, whoa, the fuck happened to him? He looks forward as he then says, "Fuck it." As quickly, Deku would shoot forth the first one of these clouds, as it zips forward towards Bakugo and Dark Shadow, as it A massive bolt of lightning springs from this cloud, and the clouds detonate like a freaking ticking Tom lightning bomb that proceeds to electrocute Bakugo and Tsukuyomi, with both of them being violently electrocuted, pain like they would hurt a lot. As they're violently being electrocuted and aching in pain, they both look upwards as they see this man's Deku casually casually walking out as if nothing just freaking happened to him. He looks forward with a smile on his face. He is goated. So yeah, he could be seen smiling as he gets into a fighting stance, and Bakugo, it launches the explosion forward and appears right in front of Deku. Goes straight in for an explosion. Deku turns his entire body into clouds, tanking Bakugo's attack before reforming. Deku then hits Bakugo with a mean Detroit smash, sending him flying. Deku then would create his staff. As Bakugo gets upward, his sweat begins to condense. He then slams both his hands together and literally extends his arm, creating a staff made entirely from Bakugo's own sweat, creating a nitroglycerin explosive staff. Deku then looks at him, "You fucking copycat." Bakugo then would say, "Hey, I didn't think it'd actually work. Let's see how you fight with this thing." He spins it and he rushes forward towards Deku. Deku and Bakugo begin to clash, attack after attack after attack. And as the fight begins to go on, the class can barely see what's happening due to all of the fog. All Might then will communicate via his earpiece. "Hey Izuku, can you slightly lower the fog on the area where you're at? We just want to be able to see what's happening." Deku hears this, he's like, "If I do, then I'll put myself at risk, allowing Bakugo or Tsukuyomi to be able to catch me off guard." Tsukuyomi's already gone and he's heading off to fight against Kaminari. You might want to lower the area of fog there as well, considering the way Tsukuyomi's quirk works. Deku hears this and he smirks before lowering the fog within the area of Kaminari and lowering in his area just slightly enough to where they can kinda see. There you will see Deku. She stares forward towards Bakugo. Bakugo spins his staff. Deku spins his own staff. Lightning courses throughout his. He shoots forward a bolt of lightning. "Avada Kedavra!" Deku would say. As he says this, Bakugo says, "Bitch!" As he launches the explosion and launches himself in the air, he then spins and throws his staff, and his staff will detonate as he got closer to Deku. Deku would turn himself into a cloud as most of his body will be blown away via the explosion. He would slowly come back together, absorbing the fog from the area around him, allowing him to repair himself. As this happens, Deku smiles as he lifts up his hand before saying, "Shreen." As he says this, Bakugo looks confused as suddenly smoke will explode off of Deku's body. Bakugo's like, "He can control smoke now? What the fuck?" As Deku quickly appears beside Bakugo and smacks him across the face, sending Bakugo flying. Deku then charges one for all, zips towards Bakugo, punches him in the stomach once, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, before delivering a massive punch to his face that sends a shockwave and sends him flying. We cut on over towards upstairs with Kaminari and Dark Shadow looking at one another. Dark Shadow points out his hands and he rushes forward towards Kaminari. Kaminari quickly shoots a bunch of bolts of lightning forward. These bolts of lightning, obviously enough having light to them, they're able to, throw Dark Shadow off of his game. With him being violently electrocuted by Kaminari, Tsukuyomi is able to use Dark Shadow and he breaks free from the voltage before rushing forward and hitting him with a massive punch that sends him flying, before striking him with another bolt of lightning, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, before he's uppercutted by Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow grabs him, slams him onto the ground. Whereas from here, we cut on over towards Deku, creating a cloud, and using his gigantic power, he breaks a hole right through the buildings. Where from there, he rushes upwards towards the upper floor, where there you would see Kaminari almost being halted, but Deku would shoot for another one of his stored lightning clouds, which he shoots outwards, and it violently explodes, violently electrocuting Kaminari, violently electrocuting Tsukuyomi. Whereas from here, Deku would create a gigantic cloud-like hand that latches onto him and snatches Tsukuyomi forward. Deku then forms his staff and smashes it right into Tsukuyomi's face. Tsukiyomi like kind of struggles a bit, where he would wonder what happened to Bakugo. You would look downstairs, as there you would see Bakugo being held down by a cloud clone of Izuku, which could be seen holding him down. This clone is entirely made of clouds. It does not have a physical appearance. You can only see it like its shapes like Izuku, but it is mostly cloud. As it holds Bakugo down, the cloud is fueling with one for all, which gives it the strength to hold him there. Whereas from here, the real Izuku could be seen spinning his staff over and over and over and over. Typhen would say, create a wave of wind. Make one so powerful it destroys him. Deku says, I don't know how to fucking control the wind yet. As Typhen would say, it's not very hard if you just do what the hell I'm telling you to do. Focus your mind on the air. Focus. As he says this, Deku completely ignores Typhen. Typhen becomes irritated as Deku creates a massive wave of power via One For All and creates a slash. And this slash creates a burst of wind that knocks Tsukiyomi unconscious. From here, Deku and Kaminari will be declared as the winners. And guys, from here, I'm going to be taking my break. I don't even know how long this video is, but I'll get back to it. With Izuku's team winning and the hero versus villains, we will cut on over towards the class discussing who would all be the MVPs of each match. It'll be very apparent that Izuku's match, he was definitely MVP. He used his quirk in a very brilliant way that pretty much no one else in the class was expecting. He used his quirks to do several things, and just a cloud quirk like that was powerful. He damn nearly was Smoker from One Piece, a few characters would say. He was brilliant, and the way he used his quirk was even more brilliant. They're surprised that he isn't any stronger than what he actually was. From here, Deku has a smile on his face, and then he would say that realistically he could have just taken Bakugo and Tsukiyomi out in one fell swoop, but he would have ended up hurting himself in the process. As he says this leads to the entire class looking towards him, before saying that when he says percentages when he uses his power, he's using a percentage that which his body can handle. 100% of his power shatters him and destroys his body. So if you were to use 100% of your quirk, what will happen? I'll break my arm. What about if you use 100% of your power when you're entirely in your cloud form? Deku then would say that he would still break his bones. And they look towards him confused, asking how. He simply shrugs his shoulders, explaining that he uses too much power for even his cloud form to hold. And it's pretty much the only weakness of his power, that he has to physically be able to handle it. As this is said, this causes everyone to look at him intrigued. Extremely intrigued. That's just something they were not expecting. It was brilliant. Pretty brilliant. From here, we cut on over towards everyone on the bus going home. Well, no, everyone on the bus going towards the USJ. As they're discussing who's the strongest in the class, the conclusion is obviously Todoroki. I mean, he one-shotted his opponent. Izuku is definitely a close second, and a third will be Tsukiyomi. Fourth will be Bakugo. As this is heard, fifth would be, Ida. As it is known, everyone in the class would agree with this list, and Bakugo's fourth? I'm definitely stronger than Tsukiyomi. Hell, I'm probably stronger than Deku. As he says this, Deku looks towards him with a bit of a the fuck type of facial expression. He simply tells him that, yeah, no, that's not the case. But Bakugo was not having it. He says that he's definitely stronger than them, and Deku will tell him that they'll have their 1v1 whenever the time comes. For now, let's listen to what the class is saying. Bakugo, I don't know. I'm just stronger than you. As he says this, Bakugo balls up his face. Are you trying to rage bait me right now? Deku then would say, nah, I'm not. They just know that I'm stronger. Bakugo stares this man's down with just hatred in his eyes as he does it. And Deku just sinisterly smiles. And Bakugo, he knows this. What is he gonna do? Yell at him? Deku's right. I mean, everyone thinks that he's stronger. And since they think that he's stronger, shit, what is Deku gonna do? Deny it? Say, nah, I ain't stronger. Shit. Deku takes the moment. He takes the pride in everything, and everyone's saying that he's stronger. Shit. He lets them think that. Who is he to say no? They think he's stronger. He's gonna continue to let them think that he's stronger. From here, once more, we do the most sinister thing of all. Time skip. Boom. Alright, so we time skipping. On over towards when Deku. Okay. Any others get into the USJ. Like normal, Kirshen would have his wildest fake villains moment. Aizawa would have fake villains. And of course, like normal, he would jump on them and the fight would begin. I can still see everyone being teleported off to the same exact areas. Now, Deku in the water. I am like 100% sure clouds cannot form underwater. So genuinely, I can still see him being saved by Tsuyu. With Deku now realizing that he has another weakness. Huge bodies of water. Big bodies of water he cannot create clouds in because, well, it's too much water. His clouds aren't able to form because they're constantly being swarmed in with more water, which just causes the clouds to naturally rain out, which means that he can't make clouds underwater. So Tsuyu will swoop in and save him. As Tsuyu swoops in and saves him, she would also save Mineta, which would still lead to Mineta having his little freaked out moment, but Deku would look forward. He explains that he cannot create clouds like that underwater, which is okay. He realizes he has a weakness. He then looks forward and says calmly, but he cracks his neck. Ugh. I got a plan, okay? I'll see this through. He looks towards his team. He looks towards Tsuyu and Mineta and he smiles. I'll make sure you guys are okay. Worse from here, immediately, Deku proceeds to launch himself. Well, he launches off, with him creating clouds that swoop both Tsuyu and Mineta up, launching them off as well. As they're all being launched off, Tsuyu and Mineta will quickly say what's happening. Deku then would say that he's flying off right now. He's going to go plot. Well, he has a plan. He winds up taking them on over towards the area. Well, taking them on over towards the same spot of which Aizawa was. Quickly, he would create two cloud clones, with both would form before Tsuyu and Mineta, protecting both of them. Worse from here, he would see the battle in between the Nomu and Aizawa. Izuku quickly rushes in and creates a cloud which strips the Nomu, causing the Nomu to fall. He then shoots a cloud that literally wraps around Aizawa's body, causing Aizawa's wounds to be held down by the clouds. Aizawa would quickly be flung across the ground, which from there, Izuku will be seen standing face to face with the Nomu. He gets into a fighting stand, which from here Typhen will watch onward, intrigued as to what Izuku's gonna do. Izuku rushes forward, appears right in front of the cloud, appears right in front of the Nomu and goes in for a mean punch on his face. The Nomu stands there as he quickly punches Izuku and sends him flying. With a massive shockwave, Izuku's flung back as he slammed right into a giant stone pillar. Izuku struggles and he gets upwards with the Nomu rushing forward before him and kicking him dead in the face. As blood begins to splatter, Izuku just hits the ground. He holds his face in pain. He charges One For All's at 15% and hits it with a powerful Detroit smash, but the Nomu stands there. Izuku realizes he shoots all of the orbs, all the clouds that Kaminari gave him. He shot them all out. He then merged them all together and channeled all of One For All he could muster, all 15%, combining, creating this massive cloud, and he yells, "Critical Thunder!" as he smites his hand down with a massive bolt of lightning smiting down on the Nomu. He smiles, and when the dust is cleared, he would see the Nomu is still standing there. "Oh shit," he would quickly say as the Nomu Minx delivers a punch that cracks the wall. With so much power, it flings Izuku back again. Izuku being flung back, all the pain it destroys him. He's aching in absolute pain and suffering. Izuku gets upward slowly, with Shigaraki ordering the Nomu to kill him. The Nomu picks Deku up, and it breaks his neck. With smoke clearing, the One For All vest just being horrified, where Izuku's body will fall to the ground. Finally, it's my turn. As you would hear cracks of thunder, as suddenly outside would instantly darken, with massive clouds forming over the entire USJ building. As suddenly the wind within the USJ begins to flourish, and the clones of Deku that were made out of clouds will suddenly morph into clones of Typhen. As lightning begins to spear out, bolts of thunder over and over and over and over. Izuku's body would slowly float upward as he rises into the air with his eyes being pure purple. With a menacing power being released, a massive wave of wind lifts the Nomu up into the air. Typhen then would smile as he looks forward with giant horns of lightning coming off Izuku's head. He slams his hand onto the ground before lifting his hand forward, and the wind will swoop the Nomu forward as he is caught in the arm of Typhen. Typhen would create a gigantic cloud as he punches the Nomu with the gigantic cloud and sends him flying. With a trail of cloud behind it, the Nomu then will be enveloped inside of the cloud as he's literally wrapped around and begins to get held down by it. Typhen smiles sinisterly as he jumps into the air and slams his feet onto its throat. He begins to stomp on the Nomu over and over and over. He kicks the Nomu and sends it flying. As Shigaraki would quickly rush forward, using his decay quirk, he literally touches Typhen. The Typhen begins to decay, but slowly clouds begin to replace the parts of his body which was decayed. He smiles and he wipes his hand, and a massive storm cloud will form, which will smack Shigaraki away and hit him with lightning at the same exact time. Typhen then will stomp his foot on the ground as a massive cloud would form, and that same cloud would have water rain out of it upwards. And not only was water raining out of it, the very water that came out of these clouds, Typhen was manipulating, and it was literally raining sharp water which shredded part of Shigaraki's body, causing several horrific cuts to form on him. As quickly, Kurogiri will teleport the young master away, saving Shigaraki, with the final order being given to the Nomu was to kill him. As quickly, the Nomu looks forward towards Deku, rushes forward towards him, and he goes in for a punch, but Typhen would dodge. Using one for all at 70%, he hits him with a massive Detroit smash, which sends the Nomu flying, a massive hole right through it. The Nomu will regenerate, and Typhen would smile as he lifts up his hand, and the very the cloud beneath his feet will morph into ice that froze over the entire area. As Typhen smiles, he then snaps some fingers as boom, ice would shoot through the Nomu's skull, and then a massive bolt of lightning would smite down and fry the rest of its body. Typhen then walks forward with a calm look in his eye. Eradicate, he would say, as the cloud itself would turn to a green color and slowly it would eat the Nomu away. Now to explain. The way this tower works is similar to Momoshiki and Boruto. If Izuku is pushed to a point where even he cannot fight anymore, Typhen takes over. Now, the vestiges of One For All are extremely confused, as Jerry will see every vestige look forward, as suddenly Typhen would let go of control. And suddenly he revealed himself. I guess it's about time I revealed myself. Hello, Shigaraki. As Shigaraki slowly looks forward. Typhen, he would say. As he says this, the other vestiges of One For All, those who knew who he is, all would look forward shocked. The former right-hand man of All For One. The men who betrayed All For One because he wanted the power. He wanted to be the one in control. Shigaraki looks forward. The second most dangerous villain in history is standing before them. He looks forward with all the other vestiges of One For All preparing for battle, all activating their quirks. Typhen then would say that he doesn't want to fight. The boy is simply his successor. He inherits my will. And the boy would be the one to take down All For One. We share a common goal. But the fight for the boy's soul, it's all mine. You fools do not stand a chance. They didn't want to say the boy's soul. What do you think you are? Some devil? You're not just gonna take this boy's soul from him. You don't understand. He inherited my power. We're already one and the same, and unlike One For All, when we're together, we are together forever. Slowly but surely, he will become me and I will become him. There will not be freedom for the boy because the boy will be all me. Do you understand the way this works now? We are now one and the same, and that's a goddamn shame. You must think I'm you. Shut the hell up. From here, Typhen will turn, and he calmly walks back into his side of the mindscape. Where there, Izuku will be taken into the hospital, and All Might will be staring him down. Explain yourself. No! All Might would say. Deku looks at him and he explains everything. What happened? All Might grabs him and says, you don't understand who Typhen is. Deku says he knows very well. Then why did you accept One for All? Are you the traitor? Are you the one that is the traitor? Tell me now, Izuku. As suddenly the vest just would speak to All Might. He's not the traitor. If he was a traitor, we would have seen everything. Did all of you know? All Might would ask. They all would say no. Typhen was in a completely different section of the mind than them. He's been with the kids so long that he's kind of able to just do that. All Might then would say, can we even still trust him? One for All would quickly say yes. They can still trust Izuku. He's the same kid he once was. The only difference is now they know of Typhon's being there. But it's okay. They don't need to worry about Typhen because Typhen clearly doesn't want to have any problems. Not yet, at least. The only thing they need to worry about is going to be Izuku. If Typhen can just take over like that, there's no telling what he can do. They can't even take over anyone at all. But Typhen, he can forcibly take control of Izuku's body, and that is a problem. Whereas from here, Izuku will kind of be held down by the heroes for a little while. But eventually they will let him go and return to school, with them giving Izuku a very serious job. That job is to find out who is the UA traitor. And once they find out who, they'll let Izuku get a bit of a break. But for now, they're keeping a very close eye on him. And now, we time skip. Izuku will be handed the mic. Whereas from here, he will give the classic speech that he would. Well, he'll give a little speech saying that everyone has a strong chance today of getting first place in the UA Sports Festival. Blah, 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 blah. He would yap onward. Whereas from here, the festival will begin, with the first thing being a race, which Deku quickly jumps on a cloud, uses 15%, and he zooms off. I can see Deku getting second place, stopping on purpose and allowing Bakugo to shoot past him. Which Bakugo would get first place. He'll be a bit confused as to why Deku did that, but Deku will quickly team up with Bakugo, which will lead on over towards Deku and Bakugo being, well, the first place team. It's going to be Deku, Bakugo, and a mix of the two teams that both of them had in the original timeline, which means, yeah, they absolutely solo. With them getting first place overall, the cavalry battle is finished. Now the first fight, which is Izuku versus Shinso. This time around, no one actually tells Izuku about Shinso's quirk because, well, this version of Izuku isn't entirely an asshole, but he's kind of an asshole. So they didn't even bother to actually tell him, which will lead to Shinso actually successfully getting him. But Izuku still breaks out. One for All is still there. With Izuku breaking out, he would use his clouds, and he literally almighty pushes him out the ring, basically. As he's thrown out of the ring, Deku then will look forward towards him, as he tells him that his quirk is powerful and he shouldn't just talk like that. A quirk like his, he should definitely be in the hero course, but the hero course is kinda not fair to those who don't have, well, combat-based quirks. But he believes that Shinso would be a great hero, and that maybe calm down a little bit. From here, Shinso would just kinda like lay there, shocked. Like this man's just actually was nice to him. From here, we cut on over towards Deku walking off, as he would hear in his head once more, Izuku, you got more quirks coming in. What? He would say in confusion. As he says this, Typhen then explains the other quirks of the One for All users, explaining that these are those quirks should be coming in, explaining he already unlocked Smokescreen due to the similarity of the quirk. But most likely he's going to be gaining more quirks. And as this is told, Izuku would wonder what are all these other quirks going to be. But from here, okay, I'm gonna record the rest of this tomorrow. I'm out. Alright, so I am back. I'm pretty sure where I last left off, it was right before his fight with Todoroki. So we cut on over towards Izuku, walking off, almost about to enter the ring, where of course he will be stopped by Todoroki, who like in the same time, just like the original timeline, he will tell Izuku the same exact crap. And Deku just blankly looks at him and says, "So that's your story, huh?" He lifts up his hand and will reveal a cloud. As in that cloud begins to take shape, as it begins to show Izuku's past, and it begins to show the exact moment he got his quirk. He shows Todoroki everything via his clouds, which he's learned how to change the color of, the shape of, and even damn nearly manifest it into perfect illusions. He shows Todoroki everything, revealing the fact that not only is there the second most dangerous villain in existence within his body, but also, well, he's entrusted by the symbol of peace. He doesn't reveal the secrets of One for All, but he does reveal the fact that All Might trained him personally. He reveals that All Might knows of this secret, and the reason he was able to defeat the Nomu was because of Typhen. He tells Todoroki not to hold back against him, because for one, he doesn't know when Typhon's personality begins to leak through. And he also just genuinely does not want Todoroki to hold back on him, because he's not going to hold back on him. So don't disrespect him by holding back like that. The flow of my clouds, I now manipulate. Ever since I was taken over, I learned how to control the water that comes from my clouds. A lot has changed since Typhen last took control. He looks forward and tells Todoroki, holding back is not an option. From here, he would walk off, and Todoroki would hold out his hand. A little flame would spark, and he would think, should I? No, not now. Well, I'll have to see. From here, Todoroki would go off, and they would enter the ring. With both of them entering the ring, the match would start. Quickly, Izuku would rush forward towards Todoroki, and immediately he uses 10% One for All and goes in for a Detroit Smash, which Todoroki would dodge, instantly creating an iceberg. As Izuku's frozen, time would slow. He would say, "Oh my god." Typhen looks at him and just smiles. He gives Izuku a hug, and Izuku just looks confused. What the fuck? As slowly but surely the ice begins to melt from Izuku, sparking off clouds of lightning. He will break free from the ice, whereas from here, he will jump on the cloud and fly upwards into the air. He looks towards Todoroki and tells him to come get him. Todoroki would quickly stomp his foot on the ground, creating a massive ice pillar that launches him into the air. Todoroki then would immediately throw forth a burst of ice, but instantly Izuku would use his cloud to not only create a barrier in between him and the burst of ice, but he also used his cloud in order to absorb the ice, creating a hail cloud. As quickly, Izuku begins to catch every single ounce of Todoroki's ice, making his hail cloud bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. As this begins to happen, the crowd begins to watch on, realizing what is happening. That's legitimately genius. Izuku jumps off into the air, weaving hand sign. Oh, what the fuck? You know what? Sounds like I need to do an Isekai Deku. Cause for some reason, that's like my third time today recording this and saying waving hand signs. Anyways, from here, Izuku jumps off. Well, Izuku stays in the air. He flies forwards from there. He begins to lift up his hand as all of the cloud begins to just rain out hail. But suddenly, all the hail would stop in its tracks, and Izuku cracks a smile as suddenly all the hail begins to merge together, forming a small, very small ice dragon. Todoroki sees this and he just blinks repeatedly. What the fuck? He would think, as Izuku cracks a smile and the dragon rushes forward towards Todoroki. Quickly, Todoroki would shoot off a burst of ice, which freezes over the ice dragon, which now Izuku no longer has control over this ice. From here, Izuku would smile, as instantly he would create a massive cloud. This cloud begins to have water pour out of it. Izuku then begins to rush forward towards Todoroki, as with his right hand he would create a hail cloud, which he goes in and he uses the hail in order to enhance his strength, as he delivers a destructive punch to Todoroki that throws him back. Todoroki is flung back, whereas from here, Todoroki gets upward, throws another blast of ice forward, which Izuku would quickly jump into the air, dodging again. He looks him dead in his eyes and says, "What did I tell you? Don't hold back against me." As Izuku lifts up his head, he then yells, "Critical thunder!" As immediately he smites down a massive bolt of green lightning. The green lightning rushes towards Todoroki as Todoroki will quickly weave out of the way, creating an ice shield over him just to dodge the rest of the recoil. From here, he looks forward. As Deku then tells him again, stop holding back against me. He begins to ball up his fist. Do you think I'm a goddamn weakling? He would say. And as he says this, the darkness in his voice would speak out, which would quickly catch the attention of everyone that heard that. The sudden shift in his voice, the look in his eye. He looks, well, simply put, he looks crazy as hell. Izuku stares Todoroki down. Todoroki would quickly ball up his fist and he stares back, now looking extremely serious, realizing that, this might just be a problem. He proceeds to instantly ignite himself in flames as Todoroki quickly throws a massive burst of fire forward. Well, suddenly, your clouds can absorb the fire, channeling it to create stronger lightning, Izuku. Sasuke style, Kirin. Izuku hears this, but he completely ignores him, and he jumps into the air with One For All, charging One For All to 20%. He then blitzes forward towards him. Instantly, he activates Smoke Screen and creates a massive cloud of smoke. Whereas from here, he would use Smoke Screen in order to, hide, because, Todoroki can't see. And he begins to look all around before igniting his flame brighter, which only caused more and more smoke to be added. Whereas from here, Izuku would appear right behind Todoroki and he kicks him in the back, launching him forward. Whereas from here, he would rush forward, jumping into the air, and immediately a cloud would form around his fist with lightning sparking off of it. He goes in for a Detroit smash. Todoroki would dodge. Whereas from here, Izuku would quickly wrap his hand and more cloud before shooting the cloud forward, and it crashes onto Todoroki. As this happened, the cloud slowly begins to take a dark color. Not like a storm cloud, but more like a black color. Izuku sees this and he's pretty confused because that's not normal. Well, suddenly the cloud would morph from a cloud into a black tendril. Izuku looks at this and he just stops and just stares, like dead ass in the middle of the ring, just stops and stares, like he's visibly confused. Typhen, within his mind, would say, Black Whip. And that's the name of the quirk. It's very simple. You can create black tendrils that you can manipulate at your will. Use them as you please. Izuku then says, can you stop talking mid-fight? It's annoying. As he snatches Todoroki forward, he kicks him directly in the stomach. But, problem is, he kicked him in the stomach, but Todoroki was now point-blank range. As he claps both his hands together, a massive burst of steam smacks Izuku dead in the face. Hot steam. Izuku stumbles back with his face beginning to burn. He looks forward towards Todoroki as quickly Izuku would immediately lift up his hand and he begins to literally begins to drag the clouds to him. As he does this, he begins to heal himself via the clouds. As this happens, Todoroki just looks forward. What the fuck? He would say. Deku then would say he's essentially part cloud. He's able to absorb the clouds in order to get all damage done to himself repaired. Todoroki just pretty blankly looks at him like, some powers he just don't need. Like, some powers he just don't need. He just don't need them. He just has them just to have them. He looks at him. This is just not fair. Deku just simply smirks, saying that he's just better. He's always been the better. As from here, he rushes forward towards Todoroki. Instantly goes in for a kick. Todoroki would dodge, immediately hitting Izuku with a burst of fire. Izuku runs back in, One For All 20%, as he smashes Todoroki directly in the stomach. Todoroki launches back, holds his stomach in pain, drops to a knee. Whereas from here, he would cover the wound in ice as he looks forward towards Izuku. He then would say, one foul swoop. I can end this in one foul swoop. As he says, Izuku then says, okay, classic anime clash, he would say, as Izuku begins to fuel One For All, this time charging up to 100%. From here, he begins to muster all of his power, creating a cloud in front of him, and this cloud would take the shape of a hurricane. It wouldn't rise into the air, instead it would you know how you hold out your phone to show somebody a video? Basically like that. With it taking the shape of a hurricane. This hurricane begins to have green lightning spark all out of it. With Izuku staring Todoroki down, he tells him, one time. Only gonna take one time. As instantly Izuku then would yell, Katrina's burst! As Todoroki would use the same move he did in the original timeline. As instantly, a powerful wave of pure, unimaginable lightning circuits forward towards Todoroki. And boom. When the smoke clears, the only person that could be seen in that ring will be Todoroki. And Deku looks forward with a smile. That guy was absolutely weak. No, he doesn't think that. Well, he thinks that, but he doesn't know why he thought that. And he walks out the ring. Whereas from here, Typhen looks at him. Hello, Izuku. I need a job for you. Deku looks at him. I have another match. I don't have time for your shit. Listen. Create a clone. What? Create a clone. And if I don't, Typhen looks at him. Whenever you sleep, I'll take over your body and I'll go do miserable, horrible things. I don't know. I might take over your body, rizz up one of your classmates, and fuck the shit out of them. What? Duke, you're like 200. And they don't know that. The fuck you mean they don't know that? Nigga, that's pedophilia. What they don't know won't hurt them. Okay, I'll create a damn clone. Izuku from here will make a clone. As he makes a clone, immediately Typhen would smile, as the clone would morph into him. Now, Izuku, be gone. I have business to take care of. Deku looks at him. If you hurt anyone, I promise you, who I'm gonna hurt are gonna be the same people that you would want to hurt, so it doesn't even matter. From here, Typhen would fly off. Whereas from here, we cut on over towards the League of Villains base, where there all the League would be seen, as suddenly storm clouds would roll in over their base. Horrible ones. As they would hear thunder and lightning, Dr. Uchiko would come up from his lair, and he looks forward with a very scared facial expression. The League looks forward confused. Are you okay? Typhon's here. Uchiko would say, and we have to all leave now. And before he can speak, a bolt of lightning smacks down the door, and Typhen walks inside. Well, hello, Uchiko. It's been a long time, Father. As he says those words, every member of the League looks confused. Shigaraki says, wait a minute. Those lightning horns, those eyes, I remember you. As he stands forward, preparing to go run at him and decay him quickly, Uchiko would order Kurogiri to stop Shigaraki at all cost. And Kurogiri would do so, immediately wrapping Shigaraki in portals that literally has him tied up, not allowing him to move a muscle. Listen, Izuku is going to kill you all, simply put. But if you tell me what All for One is, I'll make sure he simply arrests you. The boy does not know just how much of me he has already kicking in. But when he realizes it, things will become difficult. And I'm here to make a deal. When a boy fully realizes just how much of me is in there, I want all of you to make sure, no matter what, he doesn't forget it. Am I understood? Everyone there would say, and if we don't, I'll kill you and your master slowly. Especially your master. I have some things to take care of with my old friend. You know what? How about you bring All for One here? As immediately they would instantly shake their heads no. As he lifts up his hand, a storm above them would instantly morph into a hurricane. As he didn't say, I don't know. Rain. With a snap of his finger, the storm begins, and it begins to pour rain. And honestly, man, they're not too scared. It's a category 1. He lifts up his hand, morphing it into a category 5, with the hurricane bursting off. He then would say, you know, this is only above your base. Everywhere around you is completely safe. So, all of you in here could die, or do what the hell it is I told you. As suddenly a TV would pop on. Hello, Typhen. All for One would speak. It's been 100 years since we've last seen each other. Typhen looks forward. You killed her in cold blood. You were supposed to be my master. You were supposed to be my best friend. You were supposed to be the very thing that I protected. And you took her from me. All for One looks at him. You took her from me. You took her from me. You took your grown ass man crying behind a bitch. As he says this, he looks at him. I killed her. She was gonna die anyways. She had no immortality. She was mortal. What would you have done? I would have gave up everything, Typhen says. When I find you, I'll end you. You act as if you love her. You were evil before you met her. You rained hell down upon towns before you met her. You created hurricanes on such proportions that it wiped out entire states before her. What makes you all of a sudden care now? At the end of the day, you're acting as if this is some sad backstory and I just murdered the one you love and you were such a good person before that. You are a murderer, a terrorist, a leader of a revolution. You are my right-hand man. You love acting as if that was just the worst thing ever. And you're lucky I can't take your quirk from you, as I would be taking the very storms from the sky. But know this. No matter how many times you try, how much you whine, you'll never be able to get her back. She's dead. And you went on a rampage. Exactly like I wanted you to. Thank you. You killed the second user for me. Good. And that guy was a fucking nightmare. But you'll never be anything else. You were my bitch from the start. And you'll be my same little bitch when you die. You teamed up with One For All thinking that could protect you. I'm the Demon King. And you are nothing more than one of my slaves. All For One looks at him. When the time comes, I'll destroy you. And the TV would turn off as Typhen looks forward towards the league, and he cracks a sadistic smile. Well, all of y'all gotta die. He lifts up his hand and immediately the hurricane outside begins to fuel with One For All. And green lightning begins to spark everywhere. And with a swipe of his hand, he blows up the entire base, creating category like 20 levels of wind, which I know category 20s don't exist. But category 20 levels of wind, just pouring wind out everywhere. I mean, going wild. And everyone were just stunned. Well, I'm saying everybody, but like everybody that was around, okay, like all the random people that was around and nearby the same building, it's just, they were just baffled, flabbergasted, confused. They didn't know what to think. A fucking random hurricane appeared over one specific building. And winds in that one specific yard were on the levels of like some shit that only could happen in pure supervillainy. And he left. After leaving, we cut on over towards Deku, who's literally just like, has no idea what the fuck just happened. And we now see him standing in the ring in front of Bakugo. Bakugo cracks his neck, and immediately he launches himself forward, goes directly in for a mean explosion at Deku's face. Deku will quickly pivot to the right and smack Bakugo across the face. Bakugo was thumped backwards, with Deku beginning to jump up and down. He rushes forward and immediately hits him with a right hook, then a left hook, then a right hook, then a left, then a right, and a left, and a right, and a left, and a right, mink, 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 mink. He then punches Bakugo in the stomach and he slunk back. Bakugo looks towards him, he launches explosions forward and kicks Deku in the stomach. He then grabs him by his freaking collar and headbutts him with all his might and strength. He then begins to headbutt him over and over and over and over before kneeing him in the stomach, grabbing his face and slamming it into the dirt. Full force. He picks him up, knees him in the face, and he's sent flying. Deku then begins to calmly walk towards him, with Bakugo walking towards Deku. Deku gets upwards and immediately will morph into clouds, zooming around Bakugo. When he turns into clouds, he can use One For All at 100%, but he can only use it to move. He can't use it to deliver attacks, because if he does so, it'll still disperse his body even in cloud form. I already mentioned that it can still hurt him even in cloud form. So he zips forward and immediately phases right through Bakugo, returns to his body before smacking him in the back with a bolt of with static built up from this, launching Bakugo back. He's violently electrocuted. From here, Deku lifts up his hands, and Klaus begins to literally surround Bakugo. As Klaus begins to grab onto him, Deku then looks at him and says, "I'm sorry, but to be honest with you, I'm a little tired. I feel my energy's depleted like crazy, probably because of Typhen, and be real with you, Kachan, I don't feel like fighting." As he blitzes forward and uses one for all at 50% and smacks Bakugo smooth out the ring. As this happens, the crowd would just go silent. He just one-tapped that kid, basically, and Bakugo gets up. After going to the hospital, when he wakes up, he looks at him. "Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?" Like, he just gets, like, he starts cursing him out because that was embarrassing as fuck. And Deku just blankly tells him that he literally couldn't. He was running out of energy. That was the only thing he could do. He then would tell him, "You just came back from recovery, girl. There's no fucking way you're out of energy." And Deku would tell him that he was still out of energy. And Bakugo tells him that he's a fucking bitch and a piece of shit and he'll fucking kill him. And Deku just looks at him. "If you were gonna kill me, you would have been did it." And he walked off. And Bakugo did nothing. He did nothing. Because what was he gonna do? Do something about it? The fuck? No, he wasn't gonna do shit about it. And the day, he lost. And now we cut on over towards Deku, who is walking, and suddenly he stops in his tracks. He falls to the ground with his head hurting tremendously. He begins to hold his head in pain, where suddenly Typhen appears once more. "Well, the process is complete, Izuku. This is my final words to you. I want you to do one thing for me, kid. One thing only. Make sure that bastard Shigaraki pays." Deku didn't say, "The strategy kid?" No. "The man that you're destined to defeat. All for one. Make sure that bastard suffers." And as he looks towards him, "And my father, Dr. Ujiko, I want you to make sure that that bitch is the next one to get tested on. I want you to do all types of experiments. I don't even care what you do to him. But I want him to feel pain. I want him to feel like he's getting touched every second of the day. I want that man to experience nothing more than hell. Am I understood?" Izuku looks upward at him and smiles. Of course. Worse from here, the clouds would end. And suddenly, over 200 to 300 years of experience just flooded Izuku's mind. He now knows everything Typhen knows. He knows how to do everything Typhen can do. He stands up and he looks at his hands, balls up his fist, and with a wave of his hand, he would create a slash completely out of clouds. Then he would form a gigantic cloud battle axe made entirely out of storm clouds. He would wave this axe one time and a massive static shock will be unleashed. He feels his strength growing, more strength than ever before. And from here we time skip. He would talk to the vestiges of One for All. He would tell All Might everything. From here we would do a time skip on over towards the forest. Training arc, which I can just see him like spamming clouds or some stupid shit. Wait a minute. No, we time skip on over towards the whatever the fuck it's called. The part where they go training. I still see him training with Gran Torino, learning full caloing. And after realizing that he can now handle One for All up to 70%, yeah, he absolutely like dogged this shit out. And I think like Deku in the original timeline could only handle One for All at 50%. I think. I don't remember, but I know it was only like 50%, and he used like the other quirks to reach like a fake 100%. Which is actually crazy when you think about the fact that he wasn't even using One for All at its fullest. I think it was 50 or 60, one of the two. Which means that I'm probably wrong, okay? I'm probably wrong. But which means that I can see him just actually using this and being a pure, undeniable fucking unit. So he uses One for All and just... this man's become the absolute problem that he is. So like normal, he would still find Ida, still trying to fight Stain, and immediately Izuku just instantly critical thunders him immediately. Like, and it's a very small one compared to the crazy powerful attack he used to do. Now he can just create mini storm clouds and they can perform critical thunders. He even now starts to create hail clouds, which literally rain hail down at rapid speeds so fast that it shreds people. He now learned that he can now use One for All in order to turn his regular clouds into acid clouds, which he got from Typhen. That was the same exact thing he used against the Nomu. He turned it into an acid cloud and it slowly ate away the Nomu. And fueling more and more One for All into it, the acidity kicks up, the more and more One for All is in it. From here, he just obliterated Stain. That one critical thunder was enough. He would take Ida off to the hospital, whereas from here, he will learn that he can use the clouds within the sky to not only slow down his aging, but also regenerate, granting Izuku straight up immortality. And after realizing this, he kind of realized just why Typhen was such a problem. This man was damn nearly Zeus himself. He learns how to manipulate the clouds, and he even learns how to, whenever he turns into his cloud form, he learns how to reshape himself however he feels. This man's used shape-shifting via his clouds. Now, he can't shape-shift like into animals or things. He can only use the clouds to alter his own body. So he can shape-shift and forcibly give himself a haircut. He can shape-shift, forcibly make himself a little bit taller. But like when he does it, it makes himself skinnier. Or he can make himself bulkier, but it makes himself shorter. Unless he's freaking absorbing more clouds as he does it. And then he can just alter himself however he wants. And after figuring this out, this man's literally made his body physically able to handle 100% of One for All. And the vets just realized that this is just straight up cheating. So when the Forest Training Camp comes along, I can still see him fighting against Muscular. But I just do not see Muscular winning. I can see this man's literally dodging everything Muscular throws at him and literally striking him with a massive Detroit Smash at 60%, which flings this man back before smacking him with a critical thunder, and he's just slammed onto the ground, falling off of the cliff, unconscious. Just like that, he smokes him. From here, I don't see Bakugo being kidnapped. So, I literally see this man creating a massive storm that just takes up all of the villains and leaves Class 1A, 1B, and all the heroes just completely unaffected. But all the villains, ooh, they were just eviscerated. Whereas from here, we do a long time skip because since Bakugo was never kidnapped, it takes a little bit longer to find a League of Villains base. But the base will still be found, where All Might and the heroes were still raided. But with All Might raiding it, Izuku will raid it right alongside him. With All Might and Izuku both standing beside each other, Izuku sees All for One and instantly creates a massive storm battle axe. He wields the axe and he rushes forward towards him. Jumping into the air, he immediately slashes All for One across his chest. All for One would be stunned and he's flung back. He instantly creates an air cannon, which Izuku would create a cloud which absorbs it. He then spins water bending style and hits All for One with his own air cannon. From here, All Might would zoom forward as he jumps into the air and strikes All for One with a mean Detroit Smash, with Izuku rushing forward and doing the same. The two of them begins to tag team this man. And I mean quite literally, they're tagging each other in and out as they're fighting. And Izuku let All Might get a few minutes in. All Might just freaking let Izuku get a few minutes in until eventually it's the end. And All for One is on his last feet. Shigaraki, and he just starts summoning everything. He summons all the Nomos he can. He summons every member of the League of Villains. And Izuku just looks forward as he lifts up his hand and he begins to create clones of himself out of clouds. All for One sees this and he puts his head down. An absolute shame as Izuku proceeds to literally send a fucking army at him. And All for One ain't no dummy. He realizes very quickly that he does not stand a chance in hell as Izuku's army proceeds to brutally beat this man's and all of his Nomu, all of the League of Villains, plus All Might and the other heroes on his side. Yeah, All for One is cooked. In the end of this fight, Izuku would slowly, and I mean slowly, burn this man away with a powerful acid cloud fueled with One for All and fueled with several critical thunders on the inside as well as hail. It's raining solid acid in there. This man slowly killed him. And I mean slowly, looking down at him with a psychotic look in his eye. Izuku slowly holds out his hand. He then says, "No one can stop me. Not even you." He will say as he looks towards All Might, and All Might looks at him with an eyebrow raised. "What are you gonna do to me, huh? If I were to just say that I'm the ruler of this world now." As Izuku begins to lift up his hand, storm clouds begin to roll in, growing massive and massive and massive and massive, into a storm cloud bigger than the continent itself would form. As Izuku looks forward, as he begins to charge this storm with One For All, he looks towards All Might. "Would you be able to stop me?" All Might balls up his fist and he quickly gets into a fighting stance. And Izuku just looks at him, pathetic. With a wave of his hand, a massive burst of wind would smack All Might back. And All Might would be slammed through several buildings, with all the heroes and everyone around looking confused as Izuku would just smile. As horns begin to grow from his head, made entirely of lightning, Izuku floats upwards into the air with One For All charging throughout his body. He begins to create several black tendrils, and he then slams his hand together, and a massive wave of power will blow away every unconscious villain and every dead Nomu, sending them all flying. With Izuku waving his hand, the storm begins to activate before suddenly he would grab his own hand mid-air. As he grabs his own hand, he then begins to like literally pull himself down. Like he begins to slowly pull his arm down, and it looks almost as if he's fighting against his own body. He begins to look forward. His head begins to hurt in pain. Izuku then would say, "I am the only one that can rule. No more pain, no more suffering if I'm in control." As he begins to hold his hands together, he begins to shake. He begins to just slowly but surely begins to have clouds pour out of his body. Izuku begins to straighten. He begins to age. Well, suddenly, kaboom! His body would explode. And all the smoke would settle. Izuku will be gone. The storm, gone. And from here, we cut to black, where there you would see Izuku floating everywhere. He's everywhere at once. He can no longer control anything. He's just there. Alright, so this will give you another video. In case you guys are wondering, like I said, Izuku and Tempest were merging. Okay, they were becoming one person. And slowly but surely over time, Tempest began to influence him. And just then, Tempest got a extreme level of influence, which made Izuku panic. And the only thing he knew to do was, well, suicide, which would be the only thing that would basically prevent him from losing control and having his mind and Tempest's mind take so much control to the point where Izuku starts doing things that he normally wouldn't do. With that being said, it's all going to be ending out this video. This video was a bit flawed. I'm going to be honest. I made several mistakes in this video, and honestly, it's been a very long time, and I'm not going to make up excuses. I should have done better, and I intend to do better, okay? So if you like the video, please like, subscribe. The next video I'm thinking of is probably a Stand Deku, or just hear me out, or a time release or glass release Naruto. I don't know quite yet. The movie on What If Naruto Was Obsessed with Power will be coming out. Trust me, I'm not ending the series. It's too good of a series to end. So just know it will be coming out sometime. I don't know when, which is why I said soon. I don't know when, okay? Very busy. I'm starting my job soon. Still have all this senior year crap I have to get done. So I'm taking my time, okay? But I do intend to make sure I get everything done, okay, guys? That being said, I'm out.